This video explains how to rename the columns in a pandas DataFrame in the Python programming language. So without too much talk, let's dive into the Python code. As a very first step, we need to import the pandas library, as you can see in the first line of code. And then we also need to create an example data frame using the DataFrame constructor. So after running these lines of code, a new data frame called data is created, and we can print this data frame below the code box using the print function. And then you can see that our example data frame contains 6 rows and 3 columns. And these columns are named x1, x2, and x3. Now let's assume that we want to change all the column names of our data frame. Then we can apply the code that you can see in the third code box. So as a first step, I'm creating a copy of our data frame because I also want to keep an original version of our data frame. So after running this line of code, a new data frame called data new1 is created. And then in the next step, I'm using the columns attribute. And to this attribute, I'm assigning a list of 3 new column names. So please note that if we want to change all column names, we have to assign a list with the same number of list objects as our data frame has columns. And then after running this line of code, our data frame is updated, as you can see by printing our new data frame below the code box using the print function. So after running these lines of code, you can see that a new data frame has been created, which contains the same values as our input data frame. However, the column names have been changed from x1, x2, x3 to col1, col2, and col3. So in this first example, I have explained how to change all column names in our data frame. However, it's also possible to change only some of the columns in our data frame, and we can do that as you can see in the next lines of code. So as in the previous example, I'm first creating a copy of our data frame because I want to keep an original version of our data frame, and in this case I call this copy data new2. And then in the next step, I use the rename function, and I'm applying this function to our new data frame. And within the function, I specify the columns argument to be equal to this dictionary. And within this dictionary, I specify the column names that I want to change, and I specify the new column names. So in this case, I want to change the column name x1 to col1. I want to change the column name x3 to col3. However, note that the column name x2 is not mentioned here. However, after running this line of code, our data frame is updated, and you can see that by using the print function to print our data frame below the code box. And then you can see that we have changed the column name of the column x1 to col1, the column name of the column x3 to col3. However, the column name of the column x2 has been kept. That's all I wanted to explain in this video. In case you want to learn more on this topic, you may check out my homepage statisticsglobe.com, because on my homepage I have recently published a tutorial in which I'm explaining the content of this video in some more detail. I will put a link to this tutorial into the description of the video so you can find it there. If you have liked this video or if you have any questions, let me know in the comments section below. I'll try to respond to all comments as soon as I can. Furthermore, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel to get notified about future video releases. I have already published about 500 videos on this channel, and I'm releasing new videos on a daily basis. Thanks a lot for watching. See you in the next video.